I believe that fear gets way too much attention these days. I think a lot of people keep saying that others don't take action because they're too afraid, or that fear is what holds them back. And this idea has become so common in our language that it's almost funny now. It's ridiculous if you really think about it. What exactly are they afraid of? What are they so terrified about? We live in a modern world now where there aren't many immediate physical fears that used to be about survival. We're not running away from wild animals trying to eat us anymore, right? So most of the fears people have today are not real dangers. They're just repeated thoughts that we keep replaying in our minds. We keep imagining pain so often that it becomes a habit. And because it's a habit, it becomes easy to say, oh, it's fear, as if fear is this huge, mysterious, uncontrollable monster. But it's not. Most fear is simply poor management of our own thoughts and emotions. It's not some primal physical reaction in the brain screaming for survival. It's not always fight, flight, or freeze. Yet people keep using that as an excuse. You still hear many experts, psychologists, or people say, it's just the unconscious mind, people can't control it. But that's not the full truth anymore. Get over that idea. Science, especially neuroscience, shows us that we have far more control and awareness than we used to believe. The reality is that fear, once we understand it, becomes less powerful. Once you take a closer look at what fear actually is, which usually comes through reflection and thought, it starts to make sense. You can deal with it because you know what's behind it. So ask yourself honestly, what is fear? What are you actually scared of? What's the thing you believe will bring you so much pain if you face it? Have you ever really stopped to think about that? I remember the moment I figured this out for myself. And when I did, I stopped being so scared all the time. Because when you truly understand something, it stops being so intimidating. When something becomes known to you, you can build skill around it. And when you build skill, you grow confidence. In psychology, we often talk about the competence-confidence loop. The more capable you become at something, the more confident you feel in that area. The same is true with fear. Once you understand what's causing it, you can manage it better. Most fear comes down to 3 basic kinds of pain that we imagine might happen. And once we see these clearly, we can adjust our mindset and stop letting fear control us. The first type is what I call lost pain. Lost pain is the fear of losing something we value. If you try to make a change, you might feel like you'll lose comfort, safety, or something you care deeply about. Maybe if you take that big leap, a new job, a business, a new relationship, you're scared that you'll lose stability. You might fear losing your job, your financial security, your relationship with your partner, or your connection with your kids. You might think you'll lose passion, benefits, or the comfort of the familiar. I remember when I wanted to start my own business. Everyone around me made me feel more afraid. They said, be careful, this is risky. Don't give up your job and lose that steady income. They talked about losing benefits, the retirement plan, the predictability of my career. And sure, part of me worried about all that. I didn't want to lose the steady paycheck, the safety net, or the comfort of my coworkers. I liked the feeling of having managers to guide me. I liked the rhythm of the office and even the lunch breaks. So I stayed stuck for a while, afraid because of everything I thought I might lose. But when I looked deeper, I realized that life's not only about what we might lose, it's about what we can gain. Yes, I might lose security in the short term, but over time, I could gain freedom. I might lose structure, but I'd gain growth and self-direction. I might lose some guidance, but I'd learn faster because I'd be pushing myself more. I might lose the company's benefits, but I could earn far more on my own. Fearful minds always ask, what if? But they end the question negatively. What if this goes wrong? What if this fails? What if I can't handle it? That mindset poisons your motivation. It makes your brain believe change equals danger. But once you recognize that your fear is really about potential loss, you can focus instead on what you'll gain. That's how you break through. The second kind of pain people fear is what I call process pain. Process pain means the fear of how difficult the change might be. Even when we know the result will be good, the process of change feels hard. Starting anything new is uncomfortable. When I thought about building my own business, I felt terrified because I didn't yet know how. I didn't have the skills or knowledge. I imagined all the sleepless nights, the constant work, the confusion, the lack of support. The process seemed exhausting. It's the same for someone trying to quit smoking. They don't think about the fresh air or healthier lungs. They think about the struggle, the cravings, the restlessness, the irritability. The same goes for someone changing their diet. Instead of imagining how great they'll feel after eating clean, they think, I'll have to cook new meals, shop differently, give up my favorite snacks, and exercise more. They see the hard part and stop there. But real mastery in life is learning to enjoy the process of growth. Change isn't punishment, it's opportunity. If you start seeing challenges as a game, as a way to build strength and joy, everything shifts. Yes, the process can be tough, but challenge is good. Challenge develops you. It builds character, resilience, and creativity. It helps you discover your highest potential. When you begin to see the process as something exciting, you start changing more often. You start craving growth instead of running from it. The third kind of pain people fear is outcome pain. The fear that after all the effort, it won't be worth it. People think, what if I try, struggle, sacrifice, and it still doesn't work? What if after all the change, life isn't any better? I remember worrying about that with my business too. What if I work day and night and still don't earn enough? What if I don't improve my life at all? What if after everything, it's not greener on the other side? That thought can freeze you. It keeps people stuck in the same patterns for years. But part of growing up, truly growing, is learning to focus your imagination differently. Instead of visualizing the worst, start imagining the best. Picture the joy, the success, the fulfillment waiting on the other side of change. Let yourself feel how amazing it could be. Give your energy to that vision. That's how we begin to attract better outcomes and live with hope instead of fear. Because the truth is, there's also outcome joy. The happiness that comes from stepping through fear. When you quit smoking, you don't just stop inhaling chemicals, you start breathing deeply again, you start living again. When you change your diet, you don't just lose unhealthy habits, you gain energy, confidence, and pride in yourself. When you leave a job that's holding you back, you don't just lose security, you gain purpose, passion, and freedom. So maybe it's time we stop glorifying fear. It doesn't deserve the credit we give it. It's not the monster in the dark. It's just a misunderstanding inside our mind. Once you learn to manage your thoughts, your fears shrink. They stop controlling you. They stop blocking your future. You have to start asking better questions. Not, what if it fails? But what if it works? Not, what if I lose? But what if I gain something greater? Once you do that, life opens up again because fear isn't a wall. It's a whisper. And the moment you stop giving that whisper your full attention, you'll hear something far stronger calling your name. Your potential, your courage, your freedom. I'm going to feel good again. I won't have to be hooked on some small little thing that's slowly destroying millions of lives. I won't keep feeding those massive companies that profit by hurting people again. I'm done letting my body carry that sickness. I won't pass it on to my family or make them bear the weight of my addictions anymore. You know what? In that new space, I'm going to feel strong, healthy, alive, and full of energy again. Oh. When I begin that new routine or diet, I'll finally get to enjoy trying new foods, things I haven't tasted in years. I'll rediscover what real, fresh food actually feels like. I'll love going out again, connecting with people, laughing, and living without guilt. I'll even enjoy shopping again, picking clothes that actually fit my body and make me proud to wear them. You start to notice all the wonderful things that will come from that change, and the more you focus on them, the more your mind begins to cooperate. Because when you choose to think about the positives instead of the negatives, you start directing your own thoughts and emotions instead of letting them direct you. But here's the thing. When all your attention is trapped in lost pain, processed pain, or outcome pain, you're just feeding your fear. And the more you feed those fears, the louder they grow. Your brain and your body instantly react, saying, "Don't do that. I don't want to feel that pain." It's part of how we're built. We've been given this amazing protective system inside us that's designed to help us survive by avoiding pain. But the problem is that same system can also stop us from growing. When we constantly worry or overthink what might go wrong, we trap ourselves in suffering before anything even happens. We stew in our own thoughts, imagining pain that doesn't exist yet, and that's what blocks our progress. You and I both know exactly what would make our lives better. Deep down, we know the habits, the actions, the decisions that could truly lift us. So why aren't we doing them? Maybe it's because somewhere deep in our mind, we've linked those very actions with loss, struggle, or disappointment. Maybe every time we think of change, we also think of the things we'll have to give up, the people we might upset, or the discomfort we might feel along the way. And that association keeps us stuck. But today, maybe it's time to pause and ask yourself, what do I really want from my life? Why am I not moving faster toward it? What keeps slowing me down? When you sit with those questions, honestly, you might realize that it's not ability, not lack of time, not even lack of opportunity that's holding you back. It's the pain you've attached to progress. Now, imagine flipping that around. What if instead of thinking about all the effort and the struggle, you focused on everything beautiful waiting on the other side of change? What if you started concentrating on the excitement, the relief, the confidence, and the joy that's possible once you follow through? When you do that, your energy changes. You start to wake up differently. You start to take small steps again because your brain finally sees pleasure instead of pain in your path. You begin to crave the feeling of progress rather than fear it. You start becoming the master of your own emotions, the one in charge of your direction, instead of being pulled around by fear. When that shift happens, you'll notice how fast things begin to move. You'll see momentum return. You'll find yourself happier, freer, more in control. And before long, you'll start to feel that spark inside you again, that deep sense of being alive, driven, and fully charged. Life won't feel heavy anymore. It'll feel like it's flowing again, like you're finally in sync with who you're meant to be. And maybe that's what this moment is about, remembering that you have the power to direct your mind toward joy instead of pain. Because when you choose to focus on what you can gain, when you choose to see what's good on the other side of effort, that's when real change begins. That's when you rise up full of light and start living the life you were meant to live.